these are the two most evil comments in scientific inquiry. Okay? That's just the way it is. Stop asking me. Okay? All right? No, I'm not kidding. Okay? You can't divorce the qualities of iron from the consequences of the interaction it has with human beings. You see, a scientist must ask. He must be the child and say, why was he sitting on the right side of the car? And why did the other car hit the right side of the car? And why was it just enough iron to crush his chest and kill him? Because, not just because science has to relate to human beings. I'm not saying that, okay? I'm not saying we need a kinder science, and scientists shouldn't undertake any experiment which might hurt a bunny or a human. I'm not saying that. It's probably true, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying, I'm saying the missing part of scientific theory is the perceptions that Johnny had in the front seat of getting crushed, and it changed the quality of the iron in the car. His perceptions of the iron in the car are part of the quality of the iron in the car, of the element of iron. You try to grasp what I'm saying, okay? The interaction of a human being with the element of iron, it further defines the qualities of iron. Okay? Why? Because iron isn't constant, and it changes, and it's not an element, and there's no such thing as an element. Okay? All chemicals, all substances, qualities change upon interaction with humans and other living creatures. Okay? You can say, what is it? Me and him had this argument, Heisenberg, I don't know. Anyway, the presence of the observer changes the movement of an atomic particle. I did gemmology degree. I did two. One is GIA, it's the American one. It's ridiculous. It's like, is an emerald A green, B red, C, you know? Then I said, this is stupid. I finished it, but then I took the British one. You know, Gemmological 2 amps Institute of Great Britain. They're top. And they require you to learn, what do you call those things? Spectroscopes and refractometers. And you're supposed to understand the nature of light as it's refracted through a gemstone. You're required to know those things, right? Then you go all through that stuff, and then you ask your teacher, so is it like waves of light coming through the gemstone? Or is it particles of light coming through a gemstone? How does light from the sun reach the earth? And an honest teacher will say, we don't know yet. Okay? We don't understand it. Then you say, why? And you say, because light behaves in two different ways which are contradictory to each other. If you take it through a refraction grating, it behaves like a wave. If you shoot it like ping pong balls through the opening in the grating, it behaves like particles. The two are contradictory, but they both fit the evidence. Okay? And then quantum physics says the presence of somebody watching it changes how it acts. Okay? The presence of an observer changes how the light acts. It goes from a wave to a particle. Okay? And you tell me iron is constant? If light itself is not? Got it? There's no such thing as an element, and it's not constant. It can fall on you, and it can squash you. And you better be interested about this, because you might be the person who gets squashed. Okay? All right. Anyway, number one says, the principle that they decided in ancient India was nothing is constant. There is no constant. It depends upon the observer. And quantum physics is just catching up. By the way, I'm not just doing some, what do you call it, pie in the sky, new age thing. By the end, it doesn't mean anything unless we relate it to your day-to-day life. Okay? I'm not just trying to talk about science. By the end, I will tie it to your life. Getting your husband to wash the dishes. You know? Important stuff. So, to me, to talk about the theory doesn't have any meaning, even in this hour or two if we don't relate it to your real life, your own life? Can you use it to get financial security? Can you use this? I did, a $250 million company. Can you use it? I call it oxygen money. Oxygen money means, okay, by the time you're 40 or something, you make all the money you need, and you just stop working and you do what you want to do. And it just keeps coming. You see, it's in here. Okay? But also personal relationships, and you can change if you can change iron, you can change your partner. Okay? You can. And there are principles for that. We can talk about it if we have time. All right, step number 2. Rangya Tupitsi, Tupi Bhagmeva. Rangya Tupit, say Rangya.
Rangya.
Say it, okay, just for good luck. Rangya.
Rangya.
Tupe.
Tupe.
Zeyuki.
Zeyuki.
Tupe.
Tupe.
Dar. Mepa. It means, Zeya here, the important word here is Zeya. Zeya means substantial. That quality within a substance which allows it to interact with another substance. Okay? There must be some substance to iron which helps it hold up a building, right? There must be some stuff, solid stuff in iron, substance, that allows it to affect something else. Okay? It's different to go out into a battle with an iron sword than a wooden sword. Right? Iron has a different quality. It is substantial. It is more substantial. It can cause an effect in a softer substance, like somebody's chest. You know, in 2,000 years ago in some battle, if you had a brass sword, and then your army came out with iron swords, then you won the battle, because your swords were more substantial. What does it mean, substantial? It had more power, innate power within itself to pump holes in other people's bodies. Okay? That's all. I mean, nuclear weapons are different. They're the same. We're still interested in this. You see what I mean? This is harder. Something in iron is harder, and it can create an effect better than something which is made of wood. Cool? We don't put wooden tires on our cars. We put steel tires on our cars. Because they last longer. Like that. I was in a plane today, and I was happy they didn't make it out of wood. Okay? I have a friend in Beijing. He's trying to sell plastic Boeing planes to the Chinese government. And he's trying to convince them that plastic is better than steel or aluminum. But that's another thing. And then there's the illusion of, what do you call it? How do you call it? Of will. Okay? There's the illusion of will. If I had a steel sword rather than a wooden one, then I could push it through things. I could make it go through other things. I could cause an effect. If I had something which was more substantial, I could create a more substantial effect. You see? When a particle hits another particle and causes a reaction, what's really happening? Okay? Is it possible to cause another thing? Step 2 is asking this question. You see? Is it possible to cause another thing? Of course it is. Give me an example. I turn the key and the car starts. Okay? Then turning the key closes the electrical system. The battery power is able to go to spark plugs. They spark. It ignites the gasoline in the pistons, and my car starts. Okay? I caused the car to start by turning the key. Okay? Am I right? There's a substance in the key, iron, which is hard enough, and also, what do you call it? Conducts electricity. And I close the circuit and the car starts. Am I right? Yes or no? Just not. I gotta make sure. I need confirmation you're not asleep. Okay? Do you start your car with a key? Or will you give me your key right now? You won't, right? Because you believe the car is started by the key. You won't come up here and I'll give me your keys and then try to come home. You won't do it. That proves you believe the key starts the car. No, it's just, okay. You say the key causes the car to start. I ask you, does it always cause the car to start? Then you say no. Then I ask you, will you buy a car at a car lot if the dealer tells you this car only starts 3 days a week? Not unless you're really hard up. I mean, I could give you my old Volvo that I drove until a couple weeks ago. That has the same quality. Try to grasp this, okay? Try to pretend there's a world where people understand twice as much as we do. And when you say, my key doesn't always start my car, they think you're crazy to try to start a car with a key. They think you are primitive to the extreme. They think you are like worse than a caveman. You think a key could start a car? You say yes. And then they say, well, does it always start when you turn the key? And you say no. And then they just look at it. And then you say, well, it's not the key's fault. The battery died, or there wasn't gas, or it was too cold. And they just look at you. Like, what the hell are you talking about? You know, there's something else there. There's the cause of a unique interaction with elements by any given person. And that must be taken into consideration when you discuss elements. Okay? Iron only works in the presence of a person with certain things about them. And if you don't have them, then the roof will fall down and kill you, or your key won't work. Try to get it, okay? Iron doesn't work the same for different people. There's no such thing as the element of iron. It does not have a unique capacity to push through things which are softer than it. There's no such thing. For certain people, iron will work that way. And for other people, it will not work that way. And lots of people got killed by the iron swords that they forged. Right? Yeah, but somebody else got a hold of it and stabbed them. Duh! Okay? Why? Didn't they bring your mother in? Don't ask that. It's just the way it is. You know? Why did this soldier get a hold of the other soldier's sword and stab him with the sword that his army made? I don't know, it just happened. You know? Don't ask those things. Okay? Number 2 is saying, iron doesn't have a unique capacity to create an effect. Iron doesn't have a unique capacity to do anything. Okay? What was idea number 1? Iron doesn't have a unique quality to it. Different people will experience iron differently. Number 2, iron doesn't have a unique ability to do anything. It will work for some people and it won't work for other people. And if you knew that, you'd never be stuck out in the middle of the desert where the car was not starting. Which happened to my friend the other day. They called the AAA. They tried for an hour to start the car, it didn't start. They called AAA. You know, that's like an hour where we live. You know, some guy in Goodyear, Arizona gets in his tow truck. Maybe the key starts it. And then he comes to get you. And then the key worked. The guy wasn't quite there yet. He was within sight of the tow truck, and suddenly the key started. Try to explain that to the guy. He just drove for 2 hours, you know? And in discussing the capacity of iron to cause an effect in another material, you must discuss why it works for some people and why it doesn't work for other people in the key of their car, because maybe the power of the iron is coming from the people and not from the iron. Okay? Maybe the ability of the iron to start the car isn't in the iron. Maybe it's in the person whose fingers are turning it. Try to get comfortable with that. Okay? Try to get comfortable with that. You cannot speak of the qualities of iron. And you cannot speak of iron's ability to affect another element without speaking of the qualities of the person who's doing it. And physics is just catching up to that, okay? With the light thing, waves and particles. The presence of the observer the presence of the observer, changes the behavior of physical matter. Try to grasp. The chair you're sitting on is not fixed. There's nothing about the cellulose that can keep you up. Okay? It's something about you that's keeping the chair up. How can you have an entire system by which the whole world lives, okay? Forget Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism. That's not the religion of this world. It's science. Everybody in the world believes science. On Sundays or Saturdays or Fridays, they go to this house and they worship some picture, right? But everybody's living by science. They get in a plane because they believe in science. And they believe it won't fall down, okay? And science is incomplete. It doesn't work. Buildings fall down. Cars don't start, okay? Someone reads your books 50 years from now, they're going to laugh at you. I'm just trying to protect you. All right. Step number 3, then we'll take a break, okay? I promise. Sometimes he lies. Sukta Sungzin, say Suk, Tang, Sungzin, He, Chema, say Shengi, Dong. So here's a new idea. I plant trees. And I live in a wild place. I live up on a mesa in Arizona. It's empty. I don't see a single light at night in front of me. It's beautiful. And you could go hiking for days and you won't meet anybody. And you see amazing, beautiful things, you know. And so I try to grow roses because I like roses. I like to offer roses. So I have all these rose plants. And then the first time I started growing them, the deer came and ate them all. Thorns don't work, okay? But they just eat them. They have very sensitive lips and they avoid the thorns and they pick off the petals and everything, and the leaves, and it's just a stick left. So I built a fence around it. Then I started some, plum trees. And then I found out about raccoons. So they wait until they're just about ripe. And then one night you hear all this noise, you know. And I went out with a flashlight, and there were 3 baby raccoons huddled together, and they had their arms around each other like this. And they were all big bellies. And they didn't run away, they just looked at me like this. And all the plums were gone on the tree, you know. So does a branch on the left side of the tree cause the fruit on the right side of the tree? I'll ask you a question. Does a branch on the left side of the tree, is it a direct cause of the fruit on the other side of the tree? Okay. Yes or no? I mean, it contributes, right? It converts solar, what do you call that? Synthesis. Photosynthesis. The leaves on the left side help the fruit grow on the right side. But it's not like the fruit grew directly from the limb on the left side. You could cut off the left side limb, and the right side limb would grow, and it would continue to sustain the fruit. They are together, but they are not cause and effect, right? Because there's another cause for both of them, which is the roots, and the water, and the fertilizer. Try to get it, okay? The real causes are down below. In Tibetan, you know what they call a tree? They call kangtung. Kangtung means drinks to its leg. It's a nice word, right? Trees are called drink to their legs. And the sustenance for the fruit is coming up the trunk. It's water and minerals and fertilizer. And it's being sucked up the trunk and supplied to the left side and to the right side. The real cause is in the roots, okay? It's not that the left-hand branch is causing the right-hand branch, although it may look related somehow, okay? Got it? When you start your car, the engine that you're trying to start and the person who's trying to start the engine have no cause and effect relationship at all. It's like two branches on a tree. Okay? They are together. They are touching each other. There's a point of contact. There's an event which happens right after the contact. And it's not at all related to the driver and the key. Try to get used to that. I did this in Kiev recently, okay? And I was thinking, I had all these mafiosos. I was trying to teach them something. They want me to go, what do you call it? Advise the mafia. Okay, we didn't work that out yet. I said, look at this, you know? And they said, what are you doing? I said, I have to do this every night, you know? And they said, what are you doing? I said, I'm making the sun come up tomorrow. And they said, you do that every night? I said, yeah, I do it every night. You know? Not a single night that I did it has the sun failed to come up. Okay? Thinking that the key starts the car is as ignorant. 50 years from now, people will look back at you and say, those guys, you know, banging on coconuts to make the sun come up. They think it has anything to do with starting the car. It doesn't, okay? They are both the car and the key and the hand holding the key have deeper causes. They are both sprouting from a deeper cause. The car, the engine, the key, the person holding the key, have all three sprouted from a deeper cause. If you want your car to start every time, if you want to make $250 million and know nothing about business, you better understand this. You see, it's extraordinary. It's something revolutionary. We taught it in Bulgaria. They were like, oh, we not a revolution. We want to have a revolution. They're always looking for an excuse to have a revolution. But it's like, you have sprung from a certain causes, and so has the key, and so has the car. Don't blame the key if it doesn't start the car. Work on the deeper causes. Okay? That's something very profound. Okay? People and the world with which they interact are both springing from a shared cause. Okay? Work on that cause. You can have a beautiful partner. You can fix your husband. You can fix breast cancer. I had a lady 2 weeks ago. She's going for her big, mammogram. She had a lump. And she said, Gejla, I'm scared. And I said, don't be scared. Fix it. And she said, when? I said, before you take the mammogram, fix it. And she's like, well, how? I said, well, it has a deeper cause. Fix the deeper cause, you know. And then it will be benign. And if you don't, then you're taking a risk. I don't know, benign or what's the opposite? Malignant. You know. Fix the cause now before you go to for the mammogram. And she did. She did. And it was benign. You know her. She's in Three Retreat. Somebody in Three Retreat. Okay? So it's relevant to understand deeper causes from which both the person and the growth are springing from other causes. You see what I mean? Understand the root causes of the two limbs, and don't think the left limb is causing the right limb, because it's not. The car isn't causing the key isn't causing the car to start. Nothing to do with that. They are both coming from a deeper cause. They are both separate shoots of a single cause. Got it? Then you're like, tell us the cause, and I'm like, no way, because I want you to come back after the refreshments. So we'll have refreshments. I'll stay here if you have a burning question or something you want to say hi. I'll stay here. It's now 8:20, am I right? Something like that. Can we say 8:35? Is that enough time for you guys? There's only, the bathrooms are pretty big. Let's say 8:40. Is that okay with everybody? 8:40, come back. Okay, I'm going to start at 8:40. We have 3 more viewpoints to go. You didn't get the final one. There's refreshments outside.